Gen Zs are extremely fed up, and in this video, this kid was extremely excited to see the market crash. Interesting. Let's check it out.
Love it. Nothing could make me happier. No one can give an answer why young people, why Generation Z should care about a stock market crash at all. If you're young and you care, you're a moron. You're being gaslit by boomers. At a certain point, you have to realize the growth of the stock market, the performance of index funds has very little to do with the prosperance of the people, especially young people.
You know, it's interesting what he's saying because I'm starting to see this vibe with a lot of Gen Zers where they're questioning everything. They're questioning everything about whether working a 9 to 5 and work and investing, and they're doom spending. They're doing all these things, and you know what, man? I don't blame them. People need to understand, and I certainly do, is growing up during the time that they have been growing up, all they see is catastrophe on top of catastrophe. Okay, they've seen the house market crash. Now they're going through all types of stuff. Like the people talking about recession now. They're going through a crazy political climate. They're going through wage stagnation, inflation. They're going through the fact of how expensive it is to rent. They're seeing like what's going on in this economy, and they feel extremely, first of all, unheard, because every time they mention, hey, things are not fair, you have the boomers telling them, you're just being lazy, calling them all these names. Where it's like, nah, man, they really have a lot of questions where they're not getting answers to. Because right now, it's hard for everyone. It's not only the Gen Zs that are going through this, it's like everyone. I'm a millennial. I go through it as well. I start questioning, what is this really all about? Right? Yes, it feels like investing is the right thing to do, but it's like, it's not real money, right? As of now, it's not real money. In the future, it is. It is an asset. So it's kind of one of these things where when people are broke and they're struggling financially, telling them to just invest is really difficult, because it's like, okay, you just invest, but I need my money now, right? I need to survive now. I need my life to be taken care of now. But that's not what investing is really about, right? Investing is getting away from inflation, and also hopefully in the future, you do not have to work a 9 to 5 to survive. So it's something where you're pushing out for the future, and it's kind of like betting, right? I want to say it's like gambling, but it's more like betting. Like you're betting that the price of stock will go up. But these Gen Zers are seeing that, and they're probably going on social media and seeing everyone do things unconventional ways of building wealth. And they're like, hell with that, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I need to go. I don't need to go the boomer route, right? Which is working a 9 to 5, working in corporate America, being told what to do. They're being so rebellious, but I'm not gonna lie, man. Some of the things that they talk about is an interesting conversation. We cannot just ignore them.
I couldn't care less that the stock market is falling. In fact, I'm happy. When I see red on the S&P, I jump in the air and shout for glee. Retail owns a very small minority of any publicly traded company. The rest are asset managers, banks, and other massive corporations. It's a corporate oligarchy. It's a separate financial class. Young people can't afford to save for an emergency, let alone invest. You say, well, I have a 401k. I occasionally put in a Roth IRA, something like this. Doesn't matter, because you won't withdraw that for another 30 plus years anyway.
Yeah, that's the mindset a lot of the Gen Zers have. And I get it, man, right? You see, me and myself, like I grew up in the 90s, early 80s, mid 80s. Like I was able to take advantage of so many things that society had for me, right? Man, I don't blame him. I understand. Now listen, I get where he's coming from. Really, I don't like beating up on Gen Zs because I have to sympathize with them. And I get the fact that they're being so vocal about it. And I know people are going to say, just shut the hell up and just figure it out. But we have to be honest, man. The times that they grew up in was just not the same times that we did. It's completely different. I remember going to high school, and I graduated in 99. Everyone was able to graduate high school and get their own apartment out in Jersey, right? But right next to Jersey City and Hoboken, which right now is extremely expensive. People are able to get apartments living on their own. And now Gen Zs are being told, to go to college, get a degree, to do all these things. And then once they finally go out in the real world, they're recognizing, man, it feels like to them, the system is rigged because the economy right now is extremely difficult. It's extremely hard times for them to the point like what he's doing is he's rooting for them, right? He's rooting for the market to crash because to him it's like, screw it. It's fake anyway. It's not real. And I challenge that thought, okay? I really do because when you invest, it's really not thinking so much about, how much money you're investing, how much money you're going to make. You just set up a certain amount, dollar cost average, you just invest and you keep it moving, right? You don't really just get so stressed out over it because it's for the long term. It's not for a short term, right? And that's the mistake that so many people have. They want the quick fix. They want to get rich now, like quick, like crypto, one day, boom, tomorrow, blown up, like a meme stock, like something. They just need stuff to just happen overnight. And it just doesn't work that way. And to tell someone to be patient during these times that everything is so fast, right? This microwave society, it's not a good thing to tell them. It really isn't. But we all know that is the truth. You need to be patient when it comes to investing. But no one's really patient right now, especially when the cost of rent is so high. Groceries are so expensive. Student loans need to be paid back. Getting a car is so expensive. Everything is really so expensive. So him saying, hey, the market crashing, he's excited, whatever. I mean, a lot of people out there feel that way.
So that shouldn't matter to you. If you're taking spot positions or you're trading, you're calling the market, that's your fault. You need to take responsibility for that. Here's who it matters for. The financial class themselves and boomers. Don't care. Fuck them. We have continued to suffer for their indulgence. They can figure it out. They're well acquainted with working hard, pulling themselves up by the bootstraps, and going into a job, giving a firm handshake. So that's who it matters for.
Yes, it matters for them the most, of course, because they have the most at stake. They don't have what a Gen Z has, which is time. Time in the market to save, to invest, and to build that wealth. It's easy to say that, right? What he's saying, especially when you're young, you're like, this is bullshit, right? Like, why am I putting money in Social Security to support boomers? Like, what? Like, I'm just here trying to feed for the boomers. One day, you will be that person in your 50s and your 60s, and you're going to be so looking at every little thing in the investments and continue to push whatever agenda you need to push to protect your assets, to protect your portfolio. He just doesn't understand that he's not there yet, right? But once you get to that age, it's going to happen. We're all going to do it. We're all going to get to an age and we're going to try to bestow wisdom on the younger generation. And they're going to look at us like how our kids look at us now, like you just idiot, you don't get it, you don't get the slang. They just don't want to hear what you're saying, right? Even though you've been through the proven path and you got to a point where you got to, when you try to give some jewels to the younger generation, they're not going to listen. And that's my biggest fear, is that people are going to find out the hard way, right? You don't need to find out the hard way, but some people are going to find out the hard way that this path that does work doesn't mean it's the only path, but you can't just poo-poo on that path, right? You can't poo-poo on the boomers that's all they know. That's the path that they know. And of course, they wanted to keep on going. They just wanted to keep on going. And it's bound for something to happen soon, eventually, right? With these Gen Zers, I'm just hoping they don't have to deal with some tough times financially and neglecting and saving and investing, because as he said, the majority of people can't even save $500 or $1,000 a month. But to me, even though things are hard, it's just the choices that you're making in life that's putting you in that situation. You can't put yourself in a situation where you can't save $500 to $1,000 a month. Some people, they want that money though right away, right? They want it right away, $500, $1,000 within 2 months. It might take a little longer. But to me, it's the more money you make, right? Yes, things start going up, but you need to also increase your savings and your investing and try to keep your expenses as low as possible. Some things you can avoid. I get it. But simply saying, I deserve this and I'm tired, and you start just going to Coachella, doing buy now, pay later for that, going on vacation, doing all these things because you want to, you just make your situation worse.
If you're young and you care, you think, oh no, red, bad, snap out of it. It's being implanted in your head. I don't know what else to say. If you think these things actually equate to real value for real people, we just view things fundamentally different. I see slop. I see a fake economy. I see artificially inflated assets. I am happy to see it burn.
This guy's passionate about seeing it burn. He really is, man. He wants the whole market to just crash. But you gotta be careful what you ask for, because you need to understand, right? People freak out over the market, and yes, because obviously that's where the wealth is built. But there's other things as well as associated with that. Your job. If you're working for a company, the value of the stock is going down and it's crashing, burning, like you said, then your job is in jeopardy. Right? There's other things that's tied into it that people need to recognize, that it's not simply just about the rich getting rich and the poor getting poor. That's not what it's about. It's really gambling. It's like, okay, casino is not the same as the market, but it really is. If the casino is losing so much value and you go to a casino, you've been winning in the casino and it's losing value, no one really cares. That's just something you do on the side as a hobby, right? Some people get along, man, just keeping money in treasury bills and stuff like that, and they just work hard. Or maybe they make so much money that they don't need to be invested in the market. Okay, whatever. Some people out there got so much damn money, that might be the case. But we all know the market doesn't dictate the economy, like he said. That is true, right? What happens in the market doesn't dictate the economy, but it does change a lot of things in the economy, how things work. It really does. It's like one of these deep things, man. We think about just life in general, how our life is just, especially in America, it's like everything's consumerism. And it's like people always say, be frugal, don't buy. But then the market will crash and the economy will crash. So it's kind of like we're in a system that's forcing you to just buy, use credit, use credit, use credit. And it's like, it's pushed for you to do that. And if everyone rebels and they do the opposite, then the economy will crash, right? The economy will crash if we don't do what we're not supposed to do, which is just overly consume. That's what we are. We're all a nation of just consuming. And the more we keep on consuming, the value of the stock keeps on going up for these companies, then people get wealthy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that mindset will ever change for so many people. That the fact of they just look at investing as something just like whatever, that's just a rich man's game and they'll avoid it. But there's a risk that's associated with that. And once again, I get where he's coming from, because you got to question everything in life. You got to question why you do the things that you do rather than just doing it. But it probably just leads to too much analysis or paralysis where you just don't say, F that, just do it. Like, we do the same thing. I question, why we gotta buy so much in this economy? Economy is consumerism. And then I go out and I buy stuff. It's just one of these things. It's like, well, it is what it is. And I just gotta do what I gotta do. If me building wealth is investing in the stock market, then that's just the only way for me to do it. Then I'm gonna do it. I could boost my income as much as possible, but I always have to invest in the market, because the market, right, could work a whole lot harder than I can.
Generation Z has been boned from the beginning. There has been no real path to building wealth for young people. Now, I'm all about having a good attitude, taking responsibility, keeping yourself accountable, not making excuses, but there is a reality. And the reality has to be confronted and accepted, and this is it, is that we've been boned.
Yes, you have been. You have been dealt a situation that's not the best situation. I get it. But that doesn't mean, though, that you just do nothing about it, right? So, see, this is the thing. This is why I feel about it. Because, like I said, I'm a millennial, and I've been through hearing boomers saying stuff to me as well. And Gen Zs, they get it even worse. It's because, a job is a place where you go, obviously, make money, but you also sharpen your skills. And you just cannot fall into the trap that most people do, is once they get a job, their first real career, they then increase their lifestyle tremendously. Then they start going on vacation, get a raise, more things, spending more stuff to get a raise. And then you fall into this trap. And then you get into a situation like he's in. It's like, wait a minute, this is not fair. Like, this system is rigged, whatever. But I feel like you could take advantage of the system for your own benefit. Not everyone has to work a 9 to 5, right? For their whole life and their whole career. Some people work a 9 to 5 temporarily, and they start their own business, and then voila, they make it happen. Like, this is America, a place with so many small businesses. You can run your own little small business and go from there. You do not need to follow the same path everyone else follows, but you have to invest, right? You're investing in yourself. You're investing in the knowledge. You just have to invest. You just cannot neglect investing. You can question the system as much as you want, but you have to understand that you play a part, right, in the whole economy as well, in the whole system as well. Now, what are you doing, right, to better your life? Yeah, if someone else is there crying about the market going down, let that be, right? Am I freaking out seeing it, the market dipping? No, I'm in it for the long term. I don't really care about it. The people who are so obsessed about the stock market, like first of all, people just love investing. I get it. But some people just put like all their eggs in one basket and they're freaking out. That's why I can't do crypto. Okay. I just can't do crypto. Because crypto is too risky. I don't want to spend sleepless nights watching, knowing what's going on with the crypto world. I'm not going to do that. But this generation, the Gen Zs, that's how a lot of them do it, man. A lot of them bet big. They want to skip the line and go all the way to the top. They don't want to go through a 9 to 5. They don't want to do none of that stuff. They want to skip it. And they can. See, that's the part that gets them in trouble, is because you can do that. There's some people get lucky and they actually do, right? There's some people get lucky and they actually do, but you got to have a skill. You have to have a certain skill in order to get to that point. And simply just, first of all, cheering cheering that the market will crash is just not a good thing. I mean, this is not a good thing, let's be honest. But you just have to be just more productive and just keep on pushing, man. Just keep on pushing. But I hear it, man. I hear a lot of Gen Zs are extremely frustrated. And yeah, there's so much information out there, right? That where you could just gravitate towards and be like, yeah, this sucks. And then this sucks. And this sucks. And these feel like everything's stacked against you. But you got to just fight your way through it, man. When your back's against the ropes, you got to fight your way through it. Eventually you'll break free. But everyone is going through it, right? Everyone is going through it. Some boomers, yeah, you might say, oh, they're lucky, whatever, because they have a house and they got it made. But they have to still live during these current times, in this current economy as well, right? They still have to go shopping in the same grocery stores that we are shopping. They still have to buy a vehicle, a new vehicle in the same market we are in, right? They're dealing with inflation as well. They're all dealing with the same stuff. The only difference is just how to get to building wealth is a different path for everyone else. You have to understand that your path might not be the same as a boomer's. It might be different. And that's okay, right? The way I approach it is I take pieces of everyone's advice and I just put it into my world, and that's what I do. Everyone says, save 25%, save 20, save 21, save 10, save 6. Your life might be different from mine. Some say save a year emergency fund, but it depends on the job you're in, right? There's things in play here where you need to just say to yourself, my life needs to be tailored to me, right? I need to tailor my life the way I want it to be tailored, not the way everyone else is telling me to tailor it. That's it. That's everything right there in a nutshell. Well, anyway, guys, sorry I got a little ranty, but I thought that was an interesting conversation. So drop a comment down below and let me know what you think about whether you think he's right or you think times are just hard right now and people are just struggling and it just is what it is. Catch you guys in my next video. Peace.